Good afternoon, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for coming back and for sharing your time with me. I always appreciate your presence. Thank you. Today is November 23rd, 2022. Uh, so I will share with you the videos I selected from different media plus some news in reading. So I will start with a video I shared from our media, which shows a protest in Wallaga, I think in Horogudru district. These are, Oromo protesters frustrated by Abiy Ahmed administration. They have no protection. The government, the regional government, the federal government is not protecting them from Fano and Amara expansionists who cross into Oromia region, destroy their lives. So they just expressing their frustration and trying to defend themselves whatever they have with the sticks and some spears. So they don't have tanks, they don't have drones, they don't have modern weapons like Fano and Amara militia uh, armed. So I will start with that one. Then I will go to other tragedies in Israel, tragedies in the United States, plus other news. Thank you again for coming back. Let's listen what they say, the protesters in Oromia region. As I said, Oromia region is under no protection at this time. The government bombed them with drones, airstrikes, and heavy military operation. Plus, the government is allowing Fano and Amara militia to cross into Oromia region and to burn Oromo residents' properties and their houses and kill them, loot their properties. So they are doing whatever they want to do because Oromos do not have protection from federal and the regional government. Thank you. Let's listen. So as you can see, they have no weapons. They have just sticks and some kind of old spears. So that's a short video. With new developments in the overnight deadly mass. So I will come back to the tragedy in United States at Walmart store. I think some say 7 dead, including the attacker is an employee of Walmart. And some say 10 people died, so the number is still, it's not clear. But it's happened in Virginia. It's a tragedy in the United States. The next videos in Israel also is a terrorist attack in Jerusalem. That region is always in turmoil, as you already know. So the Oromos, I show you, they are saying we defend ourselves, and the Amaras within us, they hate us, we didn't hate them, but now they just frustrated with the system, tired of the attacks, the looting they are suffering under Abiy Ahmed and the Amara and the Fano militia. So they are just coming out with whatever they have to defend themselves. And uh, and it's very bad what they say about they want to remove the Amaras from their area. I think that should be calibrated in a better way. They should have said like uh, defending themselves against the expansionist Amara militia and the Fano. So instead of the general public, so they just expressing their frustration. All this is coming because of the frustration. Failed government in Ethiopia doesn't protect its own citizens and causing conflict between ethnicities. So that's why concerned citizens media repeatedly call upon Prime Minister uh, to resign, but he is still there. He's still ignoring my call, and people are just fighting each other. And plus, the government is also complicit instead of protecting them, destroying their properties, destroying their lives with drones, airstrikes, with taxpayers' money, with Ethiopians' money, killing, uh, you know, its own citizens. So let's listen to the tragedy in Virginia.
At a Walmart in Chesapeake, Virginia. Senior law enforcement official tells NBC News the shooter was, in fact, a disgruntled employee. 6 people were killed. The gunman also is dead. Let's get right to the scene. Joining us from outside the briefing room at police headquarters is NBC's Julie Sirkin. Julie, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, in just a few minutes behind me, police officers, including the chief of police, are getting ready to brief the media. The first long briefing this morning. There are a lot of unknowns still, including what the possible motive was for the shooter that opened fire. As we now know from our Ken Delaney, and he was a disgruntled employee. He opened fire, killing 6, and then himself, 7 total dead. We know that when this happened at around 10 p.m., officers immediately tried to secure the Walmart. It's a very big building, just a few miles up the road from here. They were trying to see if there was anyone still hiding, perhaps still injured, but they have secured the scene a couple hours later, ultimately coming out and revealing that 7 are dead, 5 at least are also being treated at nearby hospitals. That's really, at this point, all that we know. We have the reaction coming in from the mayor, from senators in Virginia, from local lawmakers, but of course, this is just the day before Thanksgiving, and you can imagine when the shooting happened, just an hour before the store closed, it was quite busy as people were doing their last-minute Thanksgiving shopping.
Yeah, and Julie, we just got that NBC confirmation that it was an employee of this Walmart. We'd spoken to a Virginia state senator a few minutes ago who said the same. What more do we know at this point? I know it's early hours here about the shooter.
Yeah, look, we don't know much yet, except for that he was an employee. We saw from witness accounts, people on social media sharing that information early on. We know people were in the store. We don't know at this point if all 6 that he shot were fellow employees or if some of them were just patrons shopping in the store. But that's information we're hoping to find out any minute now as this briefing gets underway in the room behind me.
You say the shooting took place about 45 minutes.
Okay, so that's a tragedy at Walmart store.
Still grieving over that.
Let's go back to that breaking
Israel now.
explosion in West Jerusalem. Alan Fisher joins us on the phone now from there. Alan, what more details can you tell us?
Well, what we've found out is that there have been 2 explosions. The first was at a bus stop in West Jerusalem. Now, according to Israeli Army radio, the explosion was caused by a device that was planted near a motorcycle. In that incident, we are told that there have been 10 casualties and 2 of the wounded are critically injured, obviously on their way to hospital at this stage. There has been a second explosion at a place called Ramat Junction, again in western Jerusalem. At the moment, there are no reports of injuries around there, but they're expecting that to change. What we are being told and what we can see from the pictures is that there is debris over a wide area. Now, this is surprising. It has been several years since we've seen bomb attacks in West Jerusalem. Tensions have been high on the West Bank and in East Jerusalem over the last few months because of Israeli army operations. But what we do know is that this is certainly an escalation in what has been happening. Yes, there have been a number of stabbing attacks. We've seen that over the last several years, but it has been some considerable time since we've reported on explosions in West Jerusalem. A number of political leaders say they're on their way to the scene, including those who are currently involved in discussions to join a coalition government under Benjamin Netanyahu. They will obviously make statements at the scene. One of them is the man who would like to become the new police minister, and he has said that it's time for the country to get its act in order. So that clearly shows that there is going to be a political escalation after what we've seen in West Jerusalem in the last hour or so.
All right, Alan Fisher live for us there in West Jerusalem. Alan, thank you for that.
Okay, this is advertisement. Okay, I will come back to the other videos. So this is these are the tragedies I want to share with you today. 7 dead in Virginia Walmart attack by employee of the Walmart, and the attacker also dead. Updates are changing, so you have to follow up with other medias too. And the Israel terror attack in Jerusalem, we say I think it's 10 casualties. That is another horrible attack. And as I said before, this region is always in turmoil. You will see now counterattack by Israelis, and more days is coming up. More military operation, more bombardment is gonna come from Israel, as always it happened before. And the United States State Department quickly released a statement on this one. I have that one too. As always, as I said before, when something happened against Israel, the United States is quick to condemn the attack. When something happened on Palestinians, they take time, and the action is not quick. That's why we just keep coming back to such kind of tragedy in that region. Why? The United States leadership, they don't want to take a chance. They don't want to lose the election because of Jewish American support for both for Democrat and the Republican. They don't want to take it. If they are determined, this circle of violence in that region can be resolved within months if America determined, if America decide. And instead what they do, Democrats, little bit recognition for Palestinians, and giving them some humanitarian aid, giving them some accommodation, and just let them cool down and lose slowly their ground to Israelis. The Republicans are tough. You saw at their Trump leadership shut down the Palestinians totally, and including shutting down humanitarian aid, shutting down the pure Palestinian officials' office, and all kind of tough measure. But Democrats are much better, slowly, and talking nicely, better approach, but no tough decision. So if there is two-state solution, this problem will come to an end, at least will slow down. But the talk of two-state solution, takes long. Just talk, no action. No action from Biden, no action from the United Nations. That's why we keep coming back to this loss of life, and Palestinians losing their land to Israelis. more expansion, more construction. That's the situation. So I will come back to the other videos as I said, and let me read what I have for you. Thank you again. This one is good. This one is good news for the victims in war-affected areas. European Union donates 33 million euro to UNICEF, WFP, to restore education services, a school feeding program in conflict-affected areas in Ethiopia. The European Union, through its partnership with UNICEF and the United Nations World Food Programme, WFP, has granted 33 million 1.8 billion Ethiopian birr to restore essential education services and implement school feeding programs so children living in conflict-affected areas in Ethiopia can get back to learning. Ronald Kobia, ambassador of the European Union to Ethiopia, said, "Children are the innocent victims in any war and often suffer the most. Their lives are disrupted and their education is interrupted. Overall, nearly 2 million children are out of school due to conflict across the country. As we begin to build the pathway to peace, the EU is committed to getting children back into the classroom where they belong. This funding will strengthen the education system in an integrated manner through the provision of education, health, protection, school feedings, WSH, and the reconstruction and rehabilitation of schools. Children's safe access to quality education is critical to the future of the country." I agree. Yes. I don't know if Abiy Ahmed agrees with this. In 10 conflict-affected regions, just over 8,500 schools have either been partially damaged or destroyed. In northern Ethiopia alone, over 1,500 schools are non-functional. The education component implemented by UNICEF will include the rehabilitation of schools, reduce rates of school dropouts, and also scale up the My Home Bete approach. My Home Bete approach. I don't know what that is. We are deeply grateful for this generous contribution from the European Union, said Gianfranco Rotigliano, UNICEF representative in Ethiopia. The My Home Bete program combines accelerated learning, child protection, and life skills training in schools. If we are to prevent a lost generation, we need to act now and get children, especially girls, not only back in school, but provide services to help them recover from the trauma they have endured due to conflict and also teach life skills so they can become our future doctors, teachers, and leaders. That's very good. I hope Prosperity Party leaders understand so they cannot continue waging war on citizens, destroying the future of that country. The funding will also support WFP to provide nutritional school meals to 50,000 children across conflict-affected northern Ethiopia. WFP's school meals will ensure that conflict-affected school-age girls and boys, including internally displaced people, continue to receive access to food, and this will attract children to enroll in school and continue their education. Evidence demonstrates that school meals contribute to the protection of children from child labor, particularly for boys, and child marriage, particularly for girls. I welcome the EU's timely contribution to WFP's school meals to keep children, especially girls, in school who have been affected by the conflict in northern Ethiopia, said Claude Jibdar, WFP Ethiopia country director and representative. By providing nutritious school meals, we can address both immediate hunger and nutritional needs of children, as well as laying the foundation for developing human capital with benefits for children, communities, and Ethiopia. Our strong combined approach together with the EU and the UNICEF is essential to support children and their families to get back on their feet and rebuild their livelihoods. Overall, the support will benefit nearly 80,000 children, and 60 schools will be reconstructed or rehabilitated. Meanwhile, the EU's support to WFP will enable them to provide nutritious school meals to 50,000 children in school across conflict-affected northern Ethiopia. Credit Addis Standard. So it's not only northern part of Ethiopia, the Oromia region, the southern part of Ethiopia is also highly impacted. So many thousands residents displaced, including children, school children, who are supposed to stay in school. Now they are in displaced camps. So the European Union, WFP, UNICEF, please do not ignore the situation in Oromia region. These are so many schools closed, destroyed by Fano and the Amara militia, plus by the government forces. So please don't ignore. We need attention in Oromia. In Oromia has thousands and thousands displaced people. No, they don't have shelter, they don't have food, they don't have school to go to, thanks to Abiy Ahmed failed leadership in that country. So this is from U.S. State Department, reported by Kuwait News Agency. It says Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke with Prime Minister of Ethiopia Abiy Ahmed on the situation. Let me read what it says. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke on Tuesday with Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed about efforts to bring lasting peace to northern Ethiopia, the State Department said. Blinken underscored the importance of immediately implementing the cessation of hostilities agreement, including withdrawal of all foreign forces and concurrent disarmament of the Tigrayan forces, State Department spokesperson Ned Price said in a statement. Blinken recognized ongoing efforts by the Ethiopian government to work towards unhindered humanitarian assistance and the restoration of basic service in the Tigray region, as well as the neighboring Afar and Amara regions, it added. Blinken noted that the US remained committed to support the African Union-led process, including the AU monitoring and verification mechanism, the statement affirmed. So that is Blinken talking to Abiy Ahmed, and that's a commitment, follow up on the peace agreement, and the withdrawal of foreign forces is not happening. Eritrea don't care about phone calls. They don't care. They are still there. They are still looting and destroying Tigrayans' life. They are waiting for something tough. No, they don't care about sanctions. They don't care about concerns. They don't care about all this. They're waiting something tough from USA or from European Union. Yeah, and even Abiy Ahmed adapted the same strategy from Isaias Afwerki. These people, they don't budge for sanctions and concern. So, but the situation is still tough. Still tough. Eritrean forces still there. Fano and Amara militia are still there, abusing the Tigrayans and holding their territories, looting their properties, killing them, arresting them in a mass. Okay, this is about Gurage zone. Gurages are also suffering just like others. They just, using the constitution and demanding the legal right to be a statehood, but Prosperity Party is not happy. They want to put them in a cluster, a different arrangement. They oppose it, so they are now getting punishment for that. Let me read. Heavy security crackdown sees more than 100 youths detained following day-long strike in Walkite, Gurage zone. Residents of Walkite town, the capital of the Gurage zone in southern nations, nationalities and peoples, SNNP region, told Addis Standard that more than 100 youths were arrested following a strike last week. Residents of the city and its environs staged protest on Friday, 18 August by boycotting routine activities in the city and its environs, which included suspending civil service works and business activities as part of the zone's push for own statehood and increased self-administration. A resident of Walkite town who preferred to be anonymous for his safety said that more than 100 youths have been arrested and imprisoned in the Irish Hall of the town. He added that the youths were also beaten up by security forces. Another resident of the town, who also didn't wish to be mentioned by his name, said the SNNP special forces did beat the people and inflict psychological damage on them. The residents claimed that while the people were on a peaceful strike, security forces created violence by insulting some residents and turning that into an opportunity to beat the youths and mass detain them. The zone has been a scene of two similar protests of boycott in the past, including one which was held on 9 August, shortly after a submission of proposal on 4 August by the SNNP Regional State Council to the House of Federation, HOF, for a cluster of 10 zones and 6 waradas in the current SNNP region to be reconstructed into new regional states. despite approvals from respective councils of zones and special waradas. The Gurage Zone Council had from the get-go opposed to the restructuring as it was seeking its regional state status, which it tabled as far back as November 2018. It is to be recalled that many zone leaders and department heads who oppose the zone cluster organization have been arrested. In a statement released following the strike last week, the Gurage Zone Communication Office stated that illegal activities being observed in Walkite city were the works of a group of people whose interests are affected and do not represent the community in the area. It added that those who have been carrying out this evil act in the name of the people are those who have been robbing of land and collecting other rents. That's the government excuse. The zonal administrator further said it was taking a determined stance and working to save the people from these misleading intruders, but failed mention the mass arrest and assaults perpetrated by security forces as was claimed by residents. But the zone says that it will continue to strengthen the law enforcement measures to investigate and apprehend those who are causing the people to riot and violence by calculating their personal interests. Really, that's government strategy or government excuse to crack down on the legitimate movement of the Gurage people to have their own statehood. But this is common practice of different governments. They just blame you first, and so you will not have support from the public. But the Gurages, they support statehood. They are demanding. They are not rioters or some kind of troublemakers. This is a legitimate movement. But Abiy Ahmed and his supporters of Prosperity Party are just blaming the public and try to force them, silence them by gun, by beating them. Okay, this is, as I said, a statement from U.S. State Department on the terrorist attack in Jerusalem. Let me read what it says. The United States stands resolutely with the people of Israel in the face of the terrorist attacks that occurred this morning in Jerusalem. We expressed our condolences to the family of the deceased and wish all victims a speedy recovery. We remain in close contact with our Israeli partners and reiterate that our commitment to Israeli security remains ironclad. Good. Yes, concerned citizens media also support this approach and condemn the attack. But why the United States is not doing the same thing when Israelis are just causing death and destruction on Palestinians? Why? And why they are not helping the Palestinians and the Israelis to have a different state, two states. So, condemning, standing together with Israel is good, but please look for a permanent solution. Find a permanent, you can do it. You can do it if you want. The United States can do it and can, galvanize support from UK, and other European countries. They can, but the US is holding. As long as the US is holding, nobody care about Palestinians or two-state solution. That's a challenge. That's a challenge. So this circle of violence will continue, as I said before. Finally, the last one. This is about Turkey. Instead of different tragedies, this is another one. Magnitude of 5.9 earthquake hits northwest Turkey. 35 injured. Health minister. I didn't know Turkey. When became Turkey became Turkey? Do you know? These days I hear Turkey. I don't know when did Turkey change its name. Istanbul. Okay, November 23. A powerful earthquake rocked Turkey's northwest Gurage province early Wednesday, leaving 35 people injured in the region. Health Minister Frahatin Kosa said on Wednesday. A total of 35 people were injured in Gurage, while other injuries were reported in Istanbul, Saqqara, Bolu, and Zonguldak provinces, the minister said on Twitter. He added that the ministry has sent medical teams to the province. A 5.9 magnitude earthquake jolted northwestern Gurage and was centered in Goliyaka district, according to Disaster and Emergency Management Authority AFAD. The quake occurred at a depth of 6.81 kilometers or 4.2 miles. It said, adding that it was felt Istanbul and other provinces, including northwestern Bolu, Saqqara, Kosali, Bursa, Bileski, and the western Izmir and the Kütahya provinces, as well as the capital Ankara. Credit Kuwaiti News Agency. So that's the last part for today's reading. Let's continue watching the two more videos I selected for today's update and finish today's presentation. Thank you again.
It is the biggest welcome the nation can provide. The ceremonial spectacle of a state visit. And greeting the President of South Africa, the King, on the world stage for the first time as head of state. It's a diplomatic day of careful choreography. A guard of honour for Cyril Ramaphosa before a carriage procession to Buckingham Palace. And inside, another display, a viewing of South African artefacts from the royal collection, including a chess set from Nelson Mandela. The King leading the tour, but supported by his family. These visits are a chance to reset relationships. And a chance for the President to escape domestic pressures. He's facing rising unemployment, daily power cuts, and allegations of corruption. But here, he represents a vital trading partner, and that's the focus for the government.
The ties between our two countries and nations are old and enduring. We therefore see this visit as an opportunity to celebrate our modern relationship as equal partners, working together for the prosperity and security of our people.
And from Parliament to the Palace and the state banquet. The royal red carpets have been rolled out, but behind the pomp and pageantry, there is a purpose. This is soft power working hard to build bridges and restore relations. It's a big moment for the king, the first state visit of his reign, and a speech to a key member of the Commonwealth. Laura Bundock, Sky News at Buckingham Palace.
Okay, I think one
I
more.
need your help, and here's why. I'm on a mission to recover $10 million within the next 12 months to American patriots that have unrightly been robbed of these funds.
The Russian Federation as a state sponsor of terrorism. There is a joint motion for a resolution tabled by 3 groups, and it is broadly adopted. Congratulations.
Okay. So the last one is a bold move by European Parliament, and it's declaring Russia state sponsor of terrorism. It's a bold move. It's a tough one against Russia. So Russia still continues its bombardment of Ukraine, but Europeans are doing everything. The United States also providing big money and weapons. Europeans are providing weapons. Now they are also declaring Russia as a state sponsor of terrorism, like US is doing against Iran or other countries. So this is a bold move. This big country is now state sponsor terrorism, Russia. So we'll see the Russia's reaction and if something come out, we'll report to you. And before that, South African president dignified welcoming by King Charles III, and that's we appreciate the welcoming and the intention of working together between United Kingdom and South Africa or other African countries, and he's making history. So he's the first guest for King Charles III officially. So let me close by saying this, and the situation in Oromia is still very tough, and the situation in North is still is not resolved. Yes, aid is slowly, very in a limited force, in a limited manner, feeding them slowly, or they need more trucks, but they are giving them a small number of trucks. Abiy Ahmed and the Prosperity Party, slowly opening up, controlling the Tigray people, with the intention of the continuation of suffering. These people suffer more than 2 years, but still is not opened up. Medicine, food is not coming as determined by international community. They need more trucks. What they say, 100 trucks a day, is it? But they're giving them few in a week. And the spoilers, the Fano and the Amara militia and the Eritrean forces are still there. So the international community, the US, European Union, they should continue pushing. The African Union, they should come out and say something instead of being silent. And also, I heard that the United States President Biden is holding US African Summit in coming months, December 13 to 15. Abiy may be coming. So Oromos, Tigrayans, and others impacted by his failed leadership, they should have some kind of protest against his coming to the United States and try to enjoy after a million people died and after so many other injured and the destruction of the country. We don't have to allow him to have it, to come here and enjoy. At least we need to protest against him in DC. A huge protest should be organized against this failed leadership in Ethiopia. So that's all I'm gonna say for today. Please be safe and enjoy the Thanksgiving with families and the friends. So, such situations are tough when you see things happening in the shopping mall and different areas. So please be safe and enjoy your Thanksgiving. So long, everyone.